about where we're going and what will be required. So over the next few hours, we're going to be, go ahead, hit the next slide just for the. All right, so we'll be acknowledging individuals receiving service awards, going over staffing updates, discussing resource growth and employee development. And we're fortunate to have Krista Van Rons here today, who's going to be talking about the Building People program and sharing some of the feedback. We're also going to hear from group managers about their accomplishments, goals, and what's in the pipeline. We'll be discussing safety updates. And lastly, we're going to be reviewing the leadership values and expectations that are laid out on the poster board over here. If you guys can stick around after, we're going to be having pizza and beer, so it'll be a good time for some team building. Be much appreciated. With that said, we're going to get started this year with service awards as one of our award recipients has to take off in like 15 minutes. So with that, I'll have Eric come up.
Sean?
Actually, speak loud, they can't hear in the back.
Can't hear in the back? How about now?
Yeah.
All right, there we go. I'll try not to yell then. But no, I'm glad we're doing the service awards first this year. I think we usually do them last, but Dennis has to leave a little early and he's going to be our first recipient, so we're going to do him first. But handsome guy. I am honored to present this 10-year service award to Dennis Aiken. Dennis was hired back in late 2014, was supposed to be an assistant superintendent, came into the office for 6 months, and I guess realized he was never going to make it out to the field. So he's been in the APM, PM, senior PM role ever since he got here 10 years ago. Some of the projects he's been involved with include 149 Middlesex Turnpike, Cambridge Labs, American Antiquarian Society, the Andover Companies, New English Business Center, and General Dynamics, both locally in California, in Florida, and in Pittsburgh. I think he actually lived in Pittsburgh for a little bit of time while he was there. So if you want to go to the next slide, please.
He lifted it up while he was there.
He probably did. I think he said he got married while he was there. So it's a little bit of a transitional period for him. But 6 years ago, Dennis made the intelligent decision to jumpstart his career and join the residential group. His first project was at Broadstone, Middlesex, right at the street in Billerica. And I remember at the time he was fairly young, and we thought it might be a little bit of a stretch for him. He actually stepped in and did a tremendous job up there. And that led to his next job with the same client at Broadstone 305 in Waltham. Pretty big job, probably actually the second largest job Erland has completed to date. Involved 3 levels of post-tension slabs, which was still relatively new to the company. So again, he hit that one out of the park as well. Both projects were a huge success, both as far as pleasing the client, and also we earned our full fee and we got a share of savings on both of those jobs. So kudos on those. Currently, Dennis is at the Country Club, and he's also transitioning into the Tufts dormitory project, which is a $130 million residence hall, huge project. Dennis is also the chairman of the Quality Committee. Next slide, please. So Dennis is truly a team player, as you can see in this photo. He's an employee. One of the employees in this room actually heard that we were honoring Dennis and sent me an unsolicited email, which I thought I would read to you because I think it pretty much sums it up. Having had the pleasure of working with Dennis over the past year, I can confidently say he brings both heart and integrity to everything he does. He consistently ensured that every member of the team felt heard, valued, and supported. He always went the extra mile to try to make our work lives easier. Dennis was instrumental to the success of the project, and the strong sense of team camaraderie we experienced was largely thanks to his leadership, end quotes. I mean, what more could you ask from a leader than that? In my eyes, Dennis has been successful for a number of reasons. He is always building relationships, both internally and externally. Always looking to do something outside of work to get to know people, fishing, going out for dinner, nights at the Encore, hunting. He has a sense of humor and does not take himself too seriously. His nights out with the Bobs, as many of you know, and the Alliance team are epic, and sometimes end well after midnight, like 3 a.m. I can't hang out with that group. I'm usually leaving about 10 or 11 o'clock and heading home, but I always enjoy the stories the next morning. Doing my research, I found a letter in Dennis's file that Bob Bowen wrote that I thought was worthy of a quick read. Now, Bob is the president of Eastport Real Estate Services, and he wrote a nice letter to Steve McDonald, and it starts out, "Dear Steve, yada, 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 the team did a great job, loved working with everybody. Dennis Aiken was on site most days, but was hungover on a daily basis and was too obsessed with growing a man bun, which he blames on his wife, but she denies ever wanting a husband with a man bun." Period. And then the next sentence doesn't involve Dennis, but I thought I'd read it anyway. "Dave Griffin proved to be very adept at periodically showing up to scream at the subs, which was always can't leave that one out. But at the end, he did say, congratulations on the success of this project. We look forward to partnering with Erland on future projects." Dennis has a sense of urgency, always prepared, great communicator, great thinker, and likes to be strategic in his thoughts, and always looking to help in the BD efforts, whether it's calling a person, going out with them, different events. I know that any of the projects that Dennis is involved with, I know that that project is in skilled and capable hands. But Dennis does has a life outside of work, as you can see on the slide here. He and his wife, Danny, just celebrated an 8-year anniversary last week. He has a daughter, Ellis, and a son, Oliver. He loves the outdoors. As most of you know, he grew up in the eastern part of New York State, but pretty rural. Grew up on a farm. Loves fly fishing and hunting, probably his two biggest passions. I think at last count, he 12 fly rods, maybe more? 19. Sorry, I lost track of a few. But he's extremely well-versed in a lot of topics. If you've ever gone out to dinner with him and he starts talking to a client, you just kind of fade away because they're talking about tomatoes, they're talking about restaurants, they're talking about scotch, steak. I mean, it's just shocking the topics he can cover and in depth. I mean, restaurants in Pennsylvania. I mean, I don't know where he comes up with it, but anyway, I've been alive 64 years. I've met a lot of people in my life. I have to say that Dennis might be the most interesting man in the world. So congratulations to Dennis. Appreciate everything you've done so far, and I look forward to the future with you here at Erland. Do you want to come up and get your 10-year award? Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We'll get you on time?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Hurry before you get in trouble.
I know.
Go.
Go. Next, I want to turn over to Jerry Brown on our Susan Taxi's 10-year award.
Ben in here? Oh, there he is, standing up. All right, so I'm gonna start this thing and then Ben's gonna bring us home. But we're here for Stephen Cassidy. He's been here 10+ years. He started with me out at Moody in Maine on July 7th in 2014.
You survived.
Yeah. We put him through it, didn't we?
You did.
Well, you know, that's how we do it in this company. Put you through the meat grinder and see what you look like when you come out the other side.
Did you know you had to get heckled while you did this?
No, I didn't. So, you know, Stephen was new to the commercial construction, but he wasn't afraid to do hard work. He was a sponge at Moody in Maine, and he was learning from the best, John Sample, Jeff Carabetta, and Tim McCara, who gave him the foundation to build his career at Erland. He was willing to learn and help out whenever he could. He was always anxious and willing to just jump out of his chair, first one to get up. And he treated everyone with respect, and in kind, he received it back. By the end of Moody in Maine, he was, you know, running the punch list and finishing up the job. I was well gone from that project at that point. And because of that, and his great success there, he moved on to the Sunrise Assisted Living Apartment Refresh jobs. He started in Burlington, and Sunrise was so impressed with him that they were super excited that he was going to move on to the Wayland and then the Cohasset property to again refresh their apartments. He was promoted to field supervisor at the Emory, at the Overlook, where the client Joe Carlton commented that the flow and cleanliness of the 3C1 building was seamless and an amazing job. He was commended at the Boston Scientific Servery Project for his continuous communication with vendors, facilities teams, and end users, making it possible to maintain the use of the servery while it was being renovated. These are all quotes, otherwise I'd just be talking. I wanted to make sure I got them right. And again, at the cotting school, Stephen stayed overnight during a snowstorm to make sure the job was open first thing in the morning. Crazy. Billy Heron said he could never have done this job without Steve's knowledge and commitment between working with the school facilities manager and handling the architect's weekly walkthrough. It was his dedication that made the cotting school happy that Stephen would continue the phase 2 renovation work of class, office, and meeting rooms after Billy moved on to his next project. I'm going to finish my part about Stephen with this quote. Stephen, and this is another quote from, I'm not going to say who. Stephen is a highly motivated and virtually tireless when there is a task to complete. Things like rain, snow, overwhelming heat, long hours, or even challenging subcontractors all become secondary importance when there is an objective that needs to be accomplished. True team player. And Ben has some stuff from his more recent work. Now that he is a full bird super, stole my truck. Ben?
I mean, I would say you always say like 110% for somebody who works really hard, right? For Steven, it's more like 150. I'm always shocked as to how the owners know Steven's kids, because he's there on weekends as needed. He'll show up to make sure that they get everything they absolutely need. A couple of interesting quotes I've had. Steven wasn't even proposed on a job, and we gave a reference for the Middlesex school. And the OPM calls me back and says, I don't know who Stephen Cassidy is, but I want to adopt him. The 10-acre head of school raved so much about Stephen that they literally were trying to push me to have him on the job. And I think that's the biggest accomplishment. So thank you for all you do. Look for many years ahead. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Here you go. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good job.
Wait, you don't have to. We take a picture. I missed Dennis. Sorry.
Awesome, right here.
All right, here we go. Ready? Okay.
Let's not tell Dennis.
Yeah. Photoshop.
You did the most interesting man Photoshop.
Oh.
There he is.
Be nice, Paul.
A little bit out of my comfort zone, so bear with me.
You're gonna be busy. You're gonna do it family.
Hey, 20 years is a long time. Back in 2004, the Red Sox won the World Series for the first time in 86 years. Patriots only had 2 of their Super Bowls. Janet Jackson had her wardrobe malfunction. Facebook was launched, and many of you were still in elementary school. I was hired in 2000 to complete the formation of a second 2-man field engineer. Back then, we performed all the layout duties. We laid out footings for excavation and formwork, snapped lines for foundation walls, and set anchor bolts. We set grades for leveling plates and grouted many of them ourselves. All our calculations were done longhand with a handheld calculator. At the time, we had multiple jobs with foundations happen simultaneously. 2 crews were needed. Oops. I get it. Then the next 4 years, the 3 other field engineers either moved on to other positions in the company or left altogether. I was the sole survivor and in need of an assistant. We started the interview process, but no applicant quite fit the bill. Fortunately for me, I knew Kevin was working for a home builder at the time, was looking to change jobs. Kevin had a Wentworth education, carpentry skills, wasn't afraid to get dirty, and certainly had the aptitude to become a field engineer. Perfect fit, right? There was one problem. Would I be able to work with him? Would I be able to work alongside him on a daily basis? Finally, my apprehension gave way and Kev was hired. To no surprise, Kev was a quick study. He understood the concepts of surveying in no time. Foresight, backsight, instrument height, coordinates, elevations. He understood trigonometry, sine, cosine, tangent. He quickly learned how to properly set up the instruments and utilize the information they were supplying. During Kev's first year at Erland, we again had multiple foundations happening. Brooks School, Sunrise Burlington, Linden Ponds, Kimball Woods, Seacoast Media, to name a few. These jobs spanned from the South Shore of Massachusetts to Portsmouth, New Hampshire. At points during this period, it wouldn't be uncommon to find us working under the truck's headlights, needing to get footings laid out for excavation on one job because we needed to be on a different job the next morning to set anchor bolts. Eventually, Kev's quick and effortless training allowed us to separate at times when we needed to be in two places at once. Utilizing an assistant super or borrowing a guy from the form contractor, we were able to work as two separate crews. This was incredibly important to keep up with the workload. We were approached several times over the years to ask if we needed additional help. Kevin would always say to me, "We don't need anybody. We'll get it done." In 2015, it was time for me to hand the field engineering reins over to Kevin. He had demonstrated his capabilities over his time at Erland, and I had complete confidence in his abilities to act as senior field engineer. After my initial apprehension back in 2004, it turned out that for the 10 plus years we worked in the field together, I couldn't have asked for a better partner. We made a great team and had it down to a science. I'd get everything together, set up, and figured out, while Kevin surveyed the site for unused steel and other building materials. That was growing home collection. Technology has advanced immensely in the years Kev's been at Erland. Kevin was instrumental in acquiring the robotic total station he uses today. He took it upon himself to learn every feature it had to offer with no formal training. Again, to no surprise, it wasn't too long before he knew more than TopCon technical support. I witnessed several occasions where Kevin had to explain to tech support how features of the equipment were supposed to work. The robotic equipment is essential and allows Kevin to complete by himself what 25 years ago took 4 people. It's a good thing we bought it because it's the only assistant that stuck with him longer than a year. Don't worry, he still blames it for all the mistakes.
Keith, is that you?
It is. That was Keith laughing.
For the past 20 years, with the exception of a few in Connecticut, Kevin has worked on every foundation Erland has completed. That's a lot of foundations and anchor bolt settings. Over the years, some of you have gotten to know him well, others haven't had the chance. I figured I'd take an opportunity to give you a better understanding of Kevin. He's certainly unique in many ways. Kevin's ingenuity never fails to impress. He's truly a modern-day MacGyver. He can quickly examine a problem, come up with a clever solution. Jerry Brown reminded me of a time at Pike School project. The 40-foot job trailer needed to be moved to allow students better access to some athletic fields. Post-driven fence was blocking the front of the trailer, and job boxes were blocking the rear. No one was quite sure what to do. "I'll move it," Kev said. Grabbed a few pieces of plywood, smothered them with grease, placed them under the trailer wheels, and pulled the trailer sideways with some equipment that we had on site. Kevin's an encyclopedia of what I call useless information. I remember one morning recently when he called me on the way to work to explain the history of the Phillips screwdriver. True story. Useless information. But Kevin's the first person I call when I need to know how to fix something, because I know he'll have the answer. He's like my own personal AI assistant. Kevin's never afraid of a challenge. When he was 19 or 20, he was in an accident with his prized F-150 pickup. The frame was bent and cracked, so the insurance company deemed it totaled. Not so fast. I want that truck. Over the next year, and I think I'm exaggerating with that, he bought a used truck frame, transferred the engine and all salvageable parts from the original truck to the new frame, upgrading along the way to essentially create an F-350 pickup. Pretty impressive for a young kid. Kev's an addict. Not drugs, not alcohol, not gambling, tools. He's addicted to tools. If you ever need a borrowed tool, Kev's got it. I promise. If he doesn't have it, he'll buy it. If you're in the market to purchase this tool or want some advice, call Kevin. He'll give you the pros and cons of each model and brand of anything. Seriously. Kev has a beautiful home in Winchendon with over 40 acres of land and a 40 by 60 high bay garage for all his tools and equipment. I remember when he started looking to buy a house, his Zillow search read, properties with garages larger than the house. He found one. Since moving there, he put his ingenuity to work, taking the property completely off grid. No cable TV, no internet, no public electrical service, and he heats primarily with wood. Interestingly enough, his electrical off-grid adventure started with one of his site surveys, when with permission, he salvaged a solar panel system from a house that was to be demolished on one of our projects. How many kilowatts did you make today, Kev? Kevin's a proud father of his dogs, Nicholas, Carter, and Odie, as well as Maverick, his horse, an array of chickens, turkeys, cats, and other things. On most nights, weekends, and even vacation days, you'll likely find Kevin harvesting lumber from the forest or working a sawmill. He might be cutting and baling hay, splitting firewood. Maybe he's plowing fields and planting feed corn for the cows. He could be in his garage fabricating some custom part for his heavy equipment with his CNC machine. Possibly he's building a new horse shelter or on an out-of-state road trip to buy something he found on Facebook Marketplace. You won't find Kevin on the golf course, watching the Super Bowl or any other major sporting event, inside lounging around, or on a beach vacation, or campaigning for Elizabeth Warren. That's a deficit. Kev, congratulations on 20 years at Erland.
Now you gotta act like you like. Put your arm around him, something meaningful. There you go. Thank you. All right, good.
Well, it was long, but it was entertaining.
Great.
Congratulations again to all the service award recipients. Well deserved. Fortunate to have you guys. So we're moving on now to staffing updates. I'm going to start with the the co-ops we have here. So we have 6 co-ops this summer. I'm sure many of you are familiar with them. If not, we're gonna do a quick little intro. First, we have Zaina Najjar, who's a co-op from Wentworth. She's heading into her junior year. She's working out on the Tufts project with Trey Chase and Ryan Duvall and Dennis and half the company. We also have Sebastian D'Amico, who's a co-op also going into a junior year at Wentworth as well. He's working on Park School with Jackson Vara. Sydney Vega, a familiar face. She was here last summer working on EMD and 10 Acre, and she's continuing now working on the Middlesex project with Scott Reed and Tim Lynch. We have Ashley Gerard. I believe she's Keene State, going to senior year, I believe. And she's going to be working with Lori Weber out on Tufts as well, focusing mainly on safety. I think she has a little bit of work out at Boston Sci as well, but it seems like a majority will be at Tufts. We also have Connor Chase, familiar face, Jake's son. He's heading into his junior year at Purdue, and he's working up at New England Document Conservation at NEDCC. He's working up there. So he'll be working up there with summer with Mark Sauter and John Suddy as well, yeah. And David Bates as well. Scott's son is here. He's heading into his junior year at Purdue, and he is. Oh, Kobe. That was a bad note. But he's going to be focusing on business development, so he'll be working closely with Ryan McDonald. But so far, all of them have been great contributors and awesome to have here. So welcome to the team. Go from there. So a few position changes. Jake Dukeshire, another person who started as a Wentworth co-op, and then went in as a field supervisor. He just wrapped up helping push the Sherman project, which was a bear. But he'll be transitioning over to the project management side as a PE1. So he's going to be working over on Tufts with Jake, Dennis, and Ryan Duvall. And then Greg Comboy, after 38 years, I don't even know if it's an official retirement, but he's continuing as a consultant. He had shared a LinkedIn post too that I kind of wanted to hit on the 3 things he learned in assignment Erland that I think a lot of the young people here should think about and just take some of the wisdom because it's pretty strong. But just take pride in what you do, respect the work of others, and make sure that there are clear lines of communication and there's alignment and expectations. I think that he was a great asset to the company for a long time and fortunate to have him continuing with us. Good, next. We also have some recent employee news. Mitch Byer just welcomed his baby girl Scotty Christine Byer on March 18th. Jimmy Kosevich just welcomed his 3rd baby, a young little boy, Lincoln James Kosevich. And Matt Combs married his longtime partner, Lauren Smith, as if he hadn't been abused enough at his wedding for that. 13 years, good decision. Moving on. And then we have some new office pups. Trooper is Mary Leahy's dog. We have Nala, Ryan Duvall's dog, and Bauer, Eileen's dog. I'm glad to say that none of these came with a recruiter fee. So they're using it well. So resource growth. I'm just going to give a quick overview, but we're going to have a few different teams come up here. As we discussed on the call, I think it was back in March, the company Zoom call, we're putting a pretty heavy investment into training and learning and development. Recently, we had sent 3 of our field superintendents, or project superintendents, down to Arkansas for Team Trek, Mike D, Kevin Gately, and Steve Cassidy. We'd also send Mary Leahy, Jake Chase, and Dennis Aiken to the FMI Leadership Institute in Colorado. We've brought in Krista and her team, who many of you have met with. She's going to be kind of revamping our company with a learning and development program and helping us navigate some of our challenges. She'll have some time to explain more and set some expectations. And lastly, we're going to have Kristen come up and talk about the SOP initiative that she's going to be working on with Matt Combs and Steve Kraft. So to start off, we'll have the Team Trek group come up, have them speak a little bit about their experience.
Yeah, yeah, Team Trek. You're in the woods in Arkansas. Never thought I would find myself in Arkansas, but it was definitely a very valuable time. And I don't know if I'll ever have to go back because this was valuable enough, but their focus and their kind of their core is, leadership development and team building. They do it via experiential learning, which is, hands-on experiences and reflection. The whole point that you're in the middle of the woods in Arkansas is that you're down there with no distractions and you're fully immersed. So, these guys, they have kids, and Team Trek knows it's a lot on your family, so that they really emphasize that, you have the support system at work and home, and you're able to go do this. So, that was really valuable too, is you're able to kind of get there and just get fully immersed, and, no distractions, and, people at work and home understand. You're doing team exercises outdoors in some classroom. We can't really give specifics on what we did outdoors because it preserves their process, and, we're all wondering, what are we going to go do down there? We don't really have an
It
itinerary.
was like zero information. They said
Yeah.
bring
Firearms,
backpack,
yeah.
leather gloves.
Yeah, and all my buddies,
that's it.
you get a packing list, and all my buddies and family are like, "What are you going to be doing?" I'm like, I don't know, to be honest with you.
Hiking boots. That was a mistake.
Yeah.
Should have broken in first.
But it makes sense when you're down there when you leave, because you just have to go in with an open mind, and it makes a lot of sense when you leave why you don't know what you're going to go do, because you just have to fully immerse yourself in it. Their goal, align leadership team, equip people, managers and supervisors, which is all of us here. They had a guarantee that if we don't hit our expectations, it's free. I believe you ended up paying for it because
We got your money back.
got your money back in a different way. We had a great facilitator, Bill. Talking with Sean, I'd really like to have him, kind of come up here and talk to us. For those of you that get to go, he's very anecdotal, very relatable. It's a very realistic, tangible, attainable training, very adaptable to your personal and professional lives. So I thought it was extremely valuable.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yes.
I'm just gonna go through. You covered a lot of it. What you said covered a lot of what I had. I think it was a great experience. It definitely helped. I think all of us, especially me, being a little bit more introverted, get out of my comfort zone a little bit. There's some team building exercises that were a little non-conventional. Just say that, and then I have a note here. Basically, it allowed us to take healthy risks in an environment without real life consequences, but I think we all took it probably more serious in real life because everyone down there was, and the Ryerson group was also very competitive.
Yeah.
So it was great. One thing I have too is a 360 review that we did. Basically, prior to going down there, I know Erland's done before, but basically you send out you basically ask peers, supervisors, trade partners, other people. I asked the architect and the owners rep from all the projects on it, basically to give their feedback on you. You fill it out for yourself, you get their feedback. It's helpful because you can get. We're the three of us are always trying to grow and develop, and like a lot of the other younger guys. But it was helpful to have information, anonymous information, for our blind spots, things that we think we do great, but might not do great, things that we could work on, and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, we got down there first day, and the first thing we were thinking, we have 4 hours to get to the site. Let's stop for lunch. We don't want to get there too early. We had high expectations, but we weren't like overly eager to go there and interview with a bunch of people we didn't know necessarily. We got lunch, we went there, we showed up where we were supposed to, and the first thing we get there, Bill Will, the trainer, is like, hey, don't necessarily go in the Erland room or the other group room, TW Fires, which is a construction company in Nashville. Don't be afraid to mix it up. Obviously, Erland went with Erland, TW Fires, and with TW Fires. And by the end of it, just the training with the leadership, but more the team building. We were so close with those guys that, I mean, we still try to keep in contact with them.
Yeah, but you don't know them on Monday, and then on Friday,
On
you're
Friday,
laughing and crying with these guys.
on Friday, we regretted going to lunch and not being there earlier, spending the time at the training facility. It was the ultimate team building experience. I say I'm not cynical to the training, but sometimes you feel like you've been through the leadership training, you've been through one, you've been through them all. This is different. And anybody that can go to this, it really is informative, transformative, and I can't recommend it enough.
It's good bow on it.
But you can't tell us what you did.
No.
They're each in their own home assignment.
Yeah.
We plan on sending more groups down there over the next few years in the spring and fall. And I think we get out to 5 or 6 if we do with Ryerson. TW Ryerson, they mentioned, is in our peer group. Very similar company. Actually, Bill Gaines works down there now. But great people too, similar culture, and we're looking at how we can kind of pair up people here with their people down there, so we can use them as a resource. But great program. I was fortunate enough to come down and be there for the final day, and we'll certainly be sending a lot of you guys down there over the next couple of years, so this year even. But
It ended up being kind of a therapy session, and I got to do some therapy. No, it was awesome. I recommended it actually to my mother-in-law, who started the plumbing company, and they're doing the same thing. And everywhere I go, I preach it to the client or his company. She does therapy.
great job. Yeah, my leadership team come up. I know Dennis had to leave, so we're gonna have Mary and Jake come up and talk about their experiences.
Very similar to Team Track, but we started our journey on Sunday. We live Colorado, and then
Full stop, because the minute we got to the airport, we had to address my issues with people packed. Dennis had to take the blow dryer. The charger.
Yeah, so we flew into Colorado, then we spent the night, and the next day we were in a car for 3 to 4 hours, going out to the Rocky Mountains. A couple of stops along the way. So when we got there, we were in the Rocky Mountains, and there was several companies all over the country, maybe 30 of us all together. 36. And we were able to break up into several groups, and that would rotate each day, maybe twice a day, but it was a long day, from like 8 in the morning till 5, 6 o'clock at night. But it was great. The experience was great. Leadership skills, same, as Team Track, they helped us with a lot of our skills, of sharpening our skills, and got us outside our comfort zone. That's what I was glad to go.
So when we went down there, and you and Dennis had already had a love affair, and I was like the third rail going down. And that immediately changed, and we were able to be open and vulnerable, which is not what we do in this industry. We do not know how to be vulnerable in this industry. We all think our self-worth comes from our persona and how we act in this facade that we have to show the world. And we got down there and we got separated immediately. There was no like you go in this room and you go in that room. We were like completely broken up from each other, and they bring you down to the core of who you are. You're very vulnerable, and you have to learn to trust. You have to learn to believe in the process that you're doing, and so it helps you to understand the worldview that all of us have. We all have our worldview and where we are and the perception that we have things in our life because of the life that we live. We don't understand how to communicate that with other people. And so it taught us, even in some of our conversations, I mean, on the way back for all three of us, my mother had fallen and I was really very upset, not knowing if she was going to be alive by the time we got back. And we were able to be vulnerable enough for each other, all three of us. All three of us were in tears on the way, because it broke that barrier down. It wasn't like, I'm this, I'm that. It's like three individuals, and we finally understood our why and what makes each one of us tick. So that has brought me back on my personal mission statement. I went down there not knowing what my purpose in Erland was anymore. For me, it's building people and investing in the future of Erland and more house than I ever was. The next version of Erland, 3.0. Can't wait to see what this company is going to be, and I think investing in us, in our learning and development, and sending to the track on those shows, like how much Erland really wants to be and continues to give us. I think that James and Sean for investing in us and continuing to invest in us. And it doesn't stop, shame on us if we stop from when we leave. It's a muscle that has to keep working. Those people from FMI, those relationships that I built, when I got back, I was like, is your mother okay? Is your mother okay? So when I told them my mother passed, there was so many notes and emails and FMI leadership us because our team, not Jake's team, now it's won the challenge, and I can't say what the challenge was, but they were sending me emails, and those are the bonds that we made. because we're able to be vulnerable. And so that's what I want. That's what I took from it. And I think that's where we need to be if we're going to continue to grow.
Great.
I know Mary mentioned something there about just the vulnerability to build trust, and I know some people are probably thinking, "Oh, this is a little too feelings-ish for me." But I think if you like zoom out from that, I think that's like we build trust with each other from being a little more open with one another. We're going to be able to have more of those difficult conversations we need with each other. We're going to be able to storm through challenges. It's something that you guys do on your project teams all the time. You get tight and you know how to work with each other. You have each other's back. So I don't want you guys to be panicked about, okay, what are we sending you guys down to right now? But it really is a great program. I know Matt and James and I had done the FMI one as well. But yeah, thank you guys again for sharing the experience, and we're excited to send more people down. With that, we're going to have Krista come up and talk about building people.
Thank you. Do we have a clicker or anything?
I think
No, you just tell Brittany. She's the clicker.
What am I clicking?
The remote
We have some
next to you. Slide.
Hi, everyone. Krista Van Rans. Not as fancy as Sean said it, Von Rans, just Americanized, totally fine. I had a chance to meet a lot of you in person or virtually. If not, you would have met my colleagues, Alicia and Paige, as well. Thank you all for, in some ways, your trust and vulnerability in us in giving us that feedback. And what we had all promised you when we met was that we would share that information and try and have a plan in place soon after. We, as the unfortunate term in some ways that we have as a consultant, is that a lot of consultants can be seen as like coming in, asking a bunch of questions, giving the executives a quick 1-pager or 5-pager, and then saying, best of luck, see you never. And that is not our hope. We wanted to try and get you some of that information, but share it with all of you and then continue and be a partner on that journey with you all. So I will have you click, I think. Very quickly, when we think about learning and development, what does that necessarily mean, right? And so there are so many different pieces to it from a construction perspective. I tend to think about if you didn't have a pre-construction department, what mistakes might you make on the project when you're actually building it, right? And so when you don't have a learning and development department, what potential people mistakes are you making that you're not able to be mindful of? In the handout, I have just a quick informational on this. This is really, a fancy way of showing the different learning and development opportunities. Our company name is Building People. Why not use a people acronym? Right. And so thinking about there's going to be aspects that we will be offering kind of formal workshops for many of you to go to, similar to Team Trek and to FMI, but here in the office. That's just a small percentage though, right? And one of the folks who was just up here mentioned like the experiential learning. When we can have that, we want to, but we want to also have the experiential learning be really intentional on your job sites. So if you have seen a concrete pour for 20 years, 10 years, I don't know. That's great. Are you learning from each of those concrete pours, or are you doing the exact same concrete pour every single time? And so trying to make sure that we are building out processes within the organization so that you all can continue to learn new aspects, new facets of the construction business, the construction space, the complexities that are continuing to be added, that you all feel you can be the best that you possibly can in your roles. So this is some of those pieces around that kind of company-wide growth is that first P, focusing on maybe some individualized learning if needed, and overall like, okay, if you are a field supervisor, what is the career path to becoming a superintendent? If you are a project engineer one, what is your career path to becoming a senior project manager or a general manager, right? And so thinking about and understanding what that looks like and what skills and capabilities you are going to need to grow in the future. Onboarding, making sure that you're getting folks up to speed as quickly as possible. Thinking about progression planning. We've had lots of people here maybe retire in the last few years or looking to retire, and thinking about what the future of Erland will look like. Processes and procedures. Kristen is going to talk about that in just a moment. And then thinking about like making sure that if you're doing all of that, you don't just want to hire people with a pulse. So making sure that when you're doing all of this great work and you're focusing and being really intentional on growing your employees and the organization as a whole, that you're not, that you're continuing to hire the right folks that will interact and engage with all of you and your teams. So again, we'll be coming around, we'll be doing some formal workshops in the next 6 weeks or so. So after this, probably by Monday, maybe we'll have an email that will go out and one workshop requirement so that you can get a taste of what this is all about. If at any point between now and 6 weeks, you have questions on this, by all means, please email me. I'll make sure that you have my information. Call me, text me, whatever form of communication you prefer. And we'll also have time during that workshop to kind of offer that opportunity. My assumption is when there are 80 people in a room, you're not going to be necessarily, there's probably a few of you, but not many of you are not going to raise your hand and ask a bunch of questions, and that is okay. We'll give plenty of that opportunity. So what are some of the things that we heard? We heard that you all are maybe in a little bit of a flux of change or in this kind of stagnant change aspect. A few years ago, this kind of model came out. Hopefully you can all see it in the back. And it was this concept that the rate of change that we as humans are able to withstand is relatively linear. There's a consistent pace that we as humans are able to adapt to change. Yet technology, we want to think about like COVID timeframe, is changing faster than we as humans are able to adapt to it. I'm going to say that COVID was like right here, right before those crosshairs. AI has drastically changed that concept. And so the only way for us as people to adapt to all of the change is to utilize this collective group here to do things as a team to be able to constantly combat that change. Additionally, I'm going to bet that you all are about here from a change perspective. That's in that little quadrant 3. And so a lot has happened in the last few years that change has been experienced here. Usually when change happens, some people like, raise your hand, how many of you love change? One. Awesome. Yes, Rick. Many of you don't, right? Like change is hard. Not a lot of people love change. Change can also be fun. It can be exciting, and yet it does take time. And so regularly when a change happens, the immediate first response tends to be negative. Then there is this opportunity. Something has ended, right? And then there's this time frame where I kind of think of it as like purgatory, that you're stuck in this space, not super excited, and wanting to get out of it, but not necessarily knowing what to do. This phase is called the neutral phase, and if you don't mind changing it, next slide. This is what the neutral phase looks like. We met with many of you, 75, 80% of you we met with. And so the things, I'm gonna read it just so that for the folks in the back, they can't read it. The neutral phase, it looks like ambiguity overload, unclear roles, goals, and priorities, decision fatigue, frequent pivots or lack of closure, identity loss, unsure of their purpose or value, change saturation, too much change, not enough integration. I won't ask you all to raise your hands again, but I think that many of you can probably relate to this because you all told me that you might be able to relate to that. And so the exciting part is that like the end has happened, we're in the neutral phase, and now you have an opportunity to get to that next stage of change that was the positive, the exciting piece where I know you all want to get, because the amount of years that folks have been at this organization in comparison to other organizations I have been to, what is substantial. There are other companies of this size that half have been there less than 2 years. Half of you have been here over 10. It's in some ways unheard of, and it shows the value and the excitement and the love and loyalty that this organization has. And so we don't want to take any part of that away. We just want to help provide some clarity to get you past that change piece. So what did you all say? What was your feedback? We do have some, you all had a little workbook there. If you have any questions, there are some pieces. I think there are a few slides that we kind of removed because there was just too much information. If you want to hit the next one. Overall, kind of what were some of the like main pieces that we had heard? So overall core strengths, family-oriented roots, supportive, approachable environment, long tenured employees with deep, deep care. I promise you all, it was very heartwarming to hear how much you all love Erland. Loyal leadership and strong camaraderie and a sense of safety and belonging. The current state was kind of this transition phase, this like, you know, where are we at? Like, are we doing things the way we've always done it? Are we going to try and do things a little bit differently? Accountability growing. The morale has been affected. That there are disparities between the office and the field, and that there are good intentions but unclear structure. Again, we wanted to share this with all of you because we think it's important. You all are owners in this business, and you all need to know this information. It doesn't just necessarily need to be shared at the executive level. And then looking ahead, clarifying of roles, building equity in the culture, establishing consistent accountability, reigniting the cultural connections across all of your teams and individuals, and rebuilding Erland with intention and inclusivity. So, next one. Here were your ideas, maybe bucketed, right? But overall, here were the ideas that you all gave us that you wanted in terms of transitioning out of that neutral phase and getting into the new beginning, getting to that kind of stage 4 from a change perspective. Leadership clarity and succession planning, career pathing and development, accountability and performance management, operational efficiencies, communication and transparency, and onboarding enhancements beyond those first weeks. I don't have the answers for exactly every little piece of how this is going to get done or what that time frame is going to look like, but this is what you all said, right? And so these are the ideas that are coming to play in terms of getting to that next stage, and the Erland 3.0, I think someone had mentioned. From there, you know, one of those is career pathing. And so thinking about, again, the formalized training aspect of it, what workshops, what skills do you all want to learn to grow? This is the list here. I know that it is also in that kind of quick couple of pages. Here are the different topics that you all recommended and that we will ideally in the next few months start offering to many. You'll also see that there is an entire SOP column. I'm a big believer in like having a balanced learning and development approach. If you just are too focused on the technical, you're going to miss out on the soft skills or relationship building. If you're too focused on the relationship building, you're probably going to miss out on some of the technology needs that are constantly improving. So trying to break it into these 5 different buckets for anyone that can't read it: soft skills and leadership, which FMI, Team Trek obviously has a huge part in. Technical skills, those are like the day-to-day kind of responsibilities, roles that would be for many of you on your job descriptions. Technology skills, certifications, because we love certifications in the construction space, and SOPs or in-house processes overall. So what is this going to look like, right? You're all chomping at the bit. Champing, I think, is the technical term for whoever. Who has the horse? Kevin? Kevin. Is it champing at the bit? It's champing, not chomping, right?
The only thing you didn't know?
We'll look it up. We'll AI it later. It's good. So the discovery phase, right? We're right at the end of it. This launch ideally is happening after today. And then some of these areas are the areas that we are going to focus on alongside of all of you, right? And so we have a group that meets every other week, but we're going to be reaching out to many of you to make sure that this is the right fit for Erland. It's not going to be Krista Van Rant's idea. I want it to be what you all want it to be. So we'll continue to kind of reach out and make sure that whatever we're putting in place makes sense for this organization as a whole. But with some ideas kind of coming to play in the next 9 or 10 months. So we'll have some things going on kind of behind the scenes that you may not be able to see as much, and other workshops that will be kind of front and center, and you'll be receiving emails around so that you can see and experience this kind of learning and development initiative overall for everybody. Thank you. Some of these dates are going to change, but some of the things you can see coming up. So effective communication. Many of you said like communication and clarity would be really, really helpful to improve as an organization. And so as something that we can promise will be a little bit fun, a little bit engaging, definitely we'll walk away with some additional knowledge, is going to be that topic. It'll be a 2-hour time frame. And we have 4 sessions that are coming up. Again, we're very close to having those dates scheduled. They'll be in late June and early July. And kind of having you all break up team appropriately, right? So that you have job site coverage to have you come in and participate and engage in that. I'm allowing you all to share what you learned in the session. It is not going to be a secret initiative, a secret mission like FMI and Team Trek. So feel free to share whatever you all learn over these next couple of weeks. And then a few of these might get changed. So as soon as we have that information, we will make sure to update you all on it. Again, my name is Krista Van Ranst, but if you are seeing emails, I want to just kind of quickly share different, very small, especially for anyone that is not in the front row, photos of the rest of the team that you might be interacting with from Building People. So we have Alicia Adams, we have Tina Augustinelli, Bradford Selby, and Paige Billsbury. So those will be different names that you're seeing around. Just know that it's not just us and that you have a whole team behind you that is excited to help build out these initiatives with you all. Again, as owners in the business, I hope that you're excited, and we also want the feedback if you're not, right? Like you all have this stake, and we are totally fine with constructive feedback, with full blown angry feedback. We can take, and also we love really great feedback. We're totally fine with that too. But we can handle the feedback if you're like, Krista, that effing sucked. I want to know that, right? Like I promise you, and I don't mind the swearing. I'm not going to swear right now with all of you, but I will probably swear here and there. And if I have Rick in a session with me, I'm sure swearing will definitely ensue. I think that was it. I don't know that there was, yeah. So I'll kind of leave you all with this. The future of our company, of Erland, is built on the growth of our team, of this team here. So I'm excited to work with you all. I can't wait to meet you, get to know one of you all further, and let me know what questions you have.
Krista, this presentation didn't suck.
Thank you. Awesome. Good to hear. Good to hear. All right. Who's up next?
So we have one last one. We're going to have Kristen talk about the SOP initiative briefly here too.
I'll try to speak loudly so you can all hear me. We recently formed a small committee, which includes myself, Matt Combs, and Steve Kraft. And this group's dedicated to reviewing our current SOPs. As part of the process, we'll be reaching out to individuals across the company to provide insights and subject matter expertise in these specific areas. Building People will also be helping us in this process. Our goal is to streamline and simplify our processes while continuing to uphold their integrity and effectiveness. We have already started this initiative by leveraging Procore's documents tool to reduce paperwork in the field and improve accessibility. This is part of our broader effort to modernize and make our systems more efficient. We recently began focusing on project startup items for operations, and we'll be working our way through all the SOPs in the coming months. All of your input is essential in ensuring that our updated SOPs reflect the needs of all the people who use them every day. So we really need your input to make it work. We appreciate your support, and we will be reaching out to all of you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all. Appreciate that. So state of the business, I'm going to just have a little quick overview here. Then we're going to have Rick come up and go over some of the financials. But as you're all aware, 2024 turned out to be one of the most brutal, painful, challenging years, I think, in memory for most of us. Well, the economy's shown signs of improvement. It hasn't really been at the the speed that we thought. It's been a bit slower. As many of you know, the construction industry typically lags the general economy by an estimated 18 to 24 months. And market conditions continue to deteriorate throughout last year and into this year. We had become familiar with the phrase in 2020, the new normal. I think right now our new normal would be defined as increased competition, more competitive lump sum bids, lower margins, higher risk, great uncertainty, just generally more challenging all the way around. The most urgent challenges that we face, though, is how we were going to rebuild our backlog, which was steadily declining. So in the past 2 years, we've seen large contractors, typically union ones. I mean, I think we're seeing Consigli and Gilbane bidding and pursuing on some of these smaller projects in different locations than they would traditionally operate. We've seen smaller companies typically open shop, trying to be more competitive on the larger projects. So with the smaller firms moving up and the larger firms moving down, we're feeling the squeeze. Given all the challenges we've been faced with, I'm extremely proud of the teamwork, hard work, and resilience that everyone's displayed as we work our way back to true normalcy, which we still have a bit of work to do on. But over the past 10 years or so, and someone could fact check me on this, but I believe approximately 75 to 80% of our workload has come through repeat clients and referrals. In 2025, we just reviewed this for a peer group meeting. And right now, our statistics drop down to 50% new and 50% repeat referral. So many of our repeat clients have remained inactive due to a multitude of reasons, between the high interest rates, the passive house, the tariff uncertainty, unfavorable lending terms. It's just one thing after another. It's been brutal to say the least, but with so many obstacles and so much uncertainty, their own team's approach to work acquisition has been truly inspiring. And it's been the definition of a team approach, which seems to be a big theme today. Between the efforts of our GMs, project executives, business development department, estimating and pre-con department, and marketing department, we found our way into a number of new opportunities with new clients, while many of our competitors have continued to feel the struggle. So a sincere thank you for the continued creativity and hard work as we steadily rebuild that backlog. With that said, the effort extends well beyond the groups I just mentioned. There's the other 50% of work that is repeat and referral, and I give each and every one of you in this room credit for that. Our best opportunity for future work, it's an outstanding performance on the jobs that we're on. And you've all continued to deliver on that at every level and every department. It's not just operations, field, and office. It's accounting, it's marketing, it's estimating. It's everybody. It's a group effort where we're really doing a great job. So thank you guys for that. Your own team has shown up day in and day out. And we've proven to be the reliable contractor, and our dedication to delivering high quality products has been seen. Referrals only come our way if we exceed client expectations, and we continue to do this as a team. So the construction industry may face further challenges, but we have the talented staff and dedication and work ethic to really capitalize on those and succeed. With that, I'm going to have Rick come up and talk a bit about the financials. So starting with 24.
Afternoon, everyone. For those who haven't met me, I'm Rick. This is my second annual meeting. I started about a year ago. I was probably in the back room, back over there. No one really knew who I was. I am a change person. I like change. I also like to swear. So if I swear in front of you, it's not at you. I just like to swear. It's my vocabulary. So change. Yes, I'm changing the slides for how we look at financials. That's number one. And number two, I'm going to change. I'm going to go really fast because I know you guys want to drink beer or non-alcoholic beer and pizza. Eat pizza. All right. So our 24 financials. Just got so excited I didn't even get my script up. All right. So as Sean stated, that we definitely had a tough fiscal year 24. Very challenging for Erland. We experienced decreased year-over-year revenue, so we're about 150 million last year. we decreased our year-over-year profitability, but our gross margins actually went up, meaning we were doing pretty good on what the work we were putting in place. Our overhead, it also decreased year over year, but it was high compared to our revenue. So we had a lot of fixed costs out there to keep this company moving, right? So that's why you see red there. The NOI, or net operating income, that also was much lower than we expected, but we were still showing a positive, we still were profitable last year. Some other things that are on here is during the year, we were able to either acquire new work, or we had change orders in the amount of almost $91 million, which is good. We want it to be better than that. And we ended up with a backlog of $67 million at 10/31/24, which is tough because we went from a $300 million business to a $150 million business, and we don't have a lot of work in place, right? Despite all of these things and all of these tough decisions that were made last year, and all the grit and effort everyone in this room put in place, like I said, we did make money, and we were positive. Now for 25, I'm going to go over the budget here, and of course we're over half through the year of 25, but our 25 budget really reflects the ongoing market realities, right? We didn't have a lot of work. There's some other challenges going on. So our revenue, which is what we projected, was $129 million, which is a reduction from what we had in fiscal 24. We're showing actually an increase in our gross profit and our gross margins based off of those numbers, which again, that usually is related to being more efficient. I'm going to tell you, big piece of that is Broadstone 305. Closing that project out, that team did great. And, at the end of the project, we got we're going to have a really good bonus on that shared savings. When we get to the overhead, it's about the same, a little minimal increase year over year. But it's red here because it's still really high related to our revenues. Again, a lot of fixed costs that we have to run this business. And our net operating income, again, is lower than expected, lower than we want it to be. Currently, we're projecting to be lower than these budgets. We're off target right now. So we're still weathering this storm, right? There's a lot of understanding. We are weathering this storm, but we're trending in a positive direction, right? So down below, we're projected to have over $200 million worth of new contracts and adjustments this year. That's a lot of money. Now, of course, a lot of that is related to Tufts, but it's not all Tufts. There's other projects that are coming on board. I'll let the GMs talk about that. I'm not going to steal their thunder. Like I said, I'm going to be quick. But these signs are really positive for the company. Thanks. And future positive. It's about getting the work, right? We continue to find really good opportunities that fit Erland's strengths, which is great. Not only that, we're also negotiating with these folks really favorable terms, which is really going to be helpful when we think about profitability. And the last thing is we're diversifying the portfolio. So it's not all and only residential work. We're having a really good mix between the different groups. Again, the GMs will discuss that more. And then the other thing is, how do we do the work, right? Well, our revenues right now are growing month over month, which is great. It's helping, fueled by projects like Middlesex Fieldhouse, Tufts, and soon our Summer Slammers. And many of the teams are effectively managing these projects. We've had a lot of smaller lump sum projects that are making 20-25% margin. It's really unbelievable. Great by all the teams. I also did want to take the opportunity, and Steve's here, to acknowledge one of the critical aspects of making sure we are future positive, right? And as we're weathering this storm, And we have external parties that are looking at us and asking us questions. And some of them require additional assurances or even personal guarantees that Erland will be around. And I do want to thank Steve because he has done some of those things. He put a lot of trust and support in everyone in this room and, you know, the future of Erland to make sure that we're continuing to do that. So it's really instrumental. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. And of course, the storm isn't behind us, right? We're still weathering it. But with all the hard work, the passion, the dedication from everyone in this room, we're gonna see the Commerce season 26. It's gonna be pretty fucking cool. So I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so now we're gonna have the group managers come up and do updates on their group, starting with the ACC group. Take it away, Ben.
Yeah. I wanted to double down on two things. One, it really does take everybody in this room to be successful. So, you know, every department puts in a lot of work to make all these projects what they'll be. And I'll go through just some of these. None of these I'm going to give enough time to the work that was put in place by the group, but we'll get through it. So, first one. So Lighthouse School, we got to go to the award ceremony yesterday. Just won a CMMA award, which was a great event, completed last summer. I think this is our smallest project.
We ran the shed.
I will say this is a little bit of a theme of this year is like getting back in with clients that are good clients. And the team was very successful. I asked Mark to be super and PM on this one and a lot of times, and he did a great job, successful with General Dynamics. So
25%.
there you go. Boston Scientific. This is another one where the team was creative. We that 900,000 at the top is not the right number. That was the number that we bid, and the team did such a great job that we ended up doing 3, 4, 5. How many phases, Jackson, we ended up putting on there? I don't know, but it was incredible how many we had. So,
I don't know.
Sorry.
I can't.
But the team does a great job, and as you see at a lot of these jobs, I'm going to mention that we started out with one thing, and we ended up with multiple more phases. And to Rick's point, a lot of them increased the profitability, right? Had that employer mentality. The next one. Go back. So 10 Acre School. 10 Acre School, we had 2 different projects on this, really. Appledore was the first one. You all saw that house move. Stephen did a great job of that. Love the marketing team and all they do as far as, I can't tell how many times I've sold that story, which has helped made us work about Stephen getting on the roof, putting balloons up there, and having the kids watch that. The design center recently finished, opened up. This is a good example of the head of school came to me, or when we were sitting down, as Stephen put it the other day, breaking bread, and said he was basically 2 for 2 on his references. So we continue to turn these projects into more projects, bigger projects. It makes my life a lot easier, frankly, in winning work. You all are doing the work and it's just kind of rolled into the next project. On top of that, they gave us 2 more projects inside. While school was ongoing, another big compliment that they gave us was that basically they didn't even know we were there. And they compared it to the other contractor that I won't name that was there before. It was night and day. So the team did a fantastic job with, we created 4 classrooms for them with some support center. And then currently Zach's finishing up out there to give them a new teacher support snack and lunchroom. The stables at the country club. Very challenging project, very demanding client. We're creating a new food service in the basement of an existing building. Once again, it's project acquisition by just you all doing the great job that you do. They're asking for us to come back and do even more projects. I know Dennis, he's not here. I'm sure John shares the same, that they have their sights set on winning the big one, pulling it away from Consigli, and I have all the faith that they will do that. So they have a big country clubhouse coming up. New England Labs, I swear the site's on an in-your burial ground, but the team has done a great job kind of pushing through, and even through all those challenges, continued to add to more work. We finished up phase one. We're adding the site work part to that, and then we have 2 other phases that they're actively working on. Back to that slide, if any of you hire New England Labs, I would highly suggest that you have a meeting at their office and see the space. It is really a tremendous space.
Play some golf.
Play some golf. They have a simulator inside their office. The athletic field house, tremendous state-of-the-art, out-of-the-ground athletic center with basketball courts, weight rooms. The groundbreaking or the topping off is in about a week and a half. Scott doesn't like me to say it, but they're ahead of schedule. They're trying to keep it under wraps, but the team's doing a fantastic job out there. 601 Edgewater. This is a small project, but these are the type of projects that I think have really set us apart this year. They're not big on the revenue side, but Hobbsbrook is a huge player in the market. When I started here, they were a client of Martini's that I've been at years before. And everyone said, we tried for years, we can't get in there. They are a fantastic client. And we've won this project, another one that I think is going to set some high marks that Rick will like from a profitability standpoint. But we continue to, I think, just knock it out of the park for them. And I have very high hopes on getting additional work. The Park School. So this was one of the 2 that 10 Acre helped us out on. This is a summer slammer, one of the ones it got started out there. Mark Brennick's out there now. Stephen will be out there soon as well. Very challenging project. It'll be a lot of work in a short amount of time. We're renovating the restrooms as well as some classroom space inside. Myomo phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 was completed earlier this year. Phase 2 is currently underway up the street. This is with Nordblum. Myomo is actually a company that does prosthetics, but another great project with Nordblum. Recently awarded and will kick off very soon. Pheasant back in there again, probably 4th year in a row. Vernon Hall, where we're renovating the hallways, some classroom space. And then Mary's loving this project, the Phillips Adams House. Once again, this is another one. Thank you to Dennis. Dennis was put us in touch with the people up there. He happens to be married to one of them. And we have this project as well as I'm hopeful for some other ones in the future. But another summer slammer dorm renovation that'll be challenging for other reasons. A couple other ones. One that I think that some have heard of. Thanks to Jake Chase, the work that you guys do in the field, the Vale, led us to Brian Murray, who left there but went to somewhere else, called us up, and we were recently awarded the St. Sebastian's School. This is the first project, a brand new dining hall, but they have 2 other projects right behind it, a new chapel, as well as they're going to tear down the existing chapel and put in a new entranceway. Before you go to the next one.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So this is going to be a surprise to most. I held on to it for the past couple of days. This is the first time it ever happened to me. We went to an interview 2 weeks ago. Then the PM out there came back and gave his notice. And then they asked to sit down with just the project manager and the superintendent. No one else from Erland could go. That's a tough spot for people to go interview-wise. And so Mark Soder and Kevin Gately. Went and sat down with them, and the feedback I got was basically just the genuine nature that they are, and the hard work and the connection with the client has won us the Haverhill Library project. Whoop, whoop.
We do ring the bell for this. We figured having the whole company here, we do things.
Right, do a little quick communication with friends before we move to
The next group.
that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, and just so this is going to be a very complicated renovation. It's going to take a big team effort. Stephen's laughing because I think he feels like he dodged the bullet on this one and but they want to stay fully occupied while renovating the entire facade and renovating the inside.
Yeah, it's all over again.
Yeah. But once again, another reason we won this job is because of the references. They didn't just reach out to the references that we gave them. They reached out to people they knew in the industry. Everyone raved about it. It's really a testament. All the work you guys do today, once again, makes my life easy. So, thank you very much. Just while they get that ready, we'll go to the next slide because that's
Oh, yeah.
That's
like a cake.
that's not even all the work. These are just the ones we have in house.
And everybody. I'll pour
Yeah.
Sorry.
The
How many more do we need?
I don't know. We're just gonna. We didn't.
Right?
Yeah.
One's broken. How many more do you need? Thank you. That one's like a little fibbly.
Sorry to interrupt the presentation like that.
It's all good.
A little unorthodox, but yeah.
Hey, 3.0.
It's 2 hour meeting.
It's a new 3.0.
You can now drink it in a 2 hour meeting. Same one, that's one.
One quick. Okay.
5 times.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
So cheers.
Cheers.
Great job.
Seen that before.
So just wrapping up the ACC group, we still continue day to day. I think Scott sent me an email or I get some RFP in my inbox. We see tremendous opportunities. Estimating and marketing, I think that drive them absolutely bonkers with the amount that come in. But it's a good problem to have. So just a few that we have out there, the YMCA up in Ashland is Scalaro, which I think if I put Stephen on there, we're going to win no matter what because Kerry loves him. So we have that one out there. The Belforge Arts that goes in the end of this month, which is great renovation work project. 1 Burlington Woods Road, it's a brand new school. They want to put right down the street. The Country Club Phase 2 I already mentioned. Northland, Building 4, the Charlemont and Oak Street. We met with them on Monday. All are coming down the pipe in the next few years. Some starting sooner than those, but that is a lot of work coming quickly.
What's the total value on those?
Building 1 is like 60 million. Building 4 is 110. The Charlemont probably 150 to 180 million. And And so I think, you know, I have all the faith in the world that we'll get on one, completely knock it out of the park and keep rolling to the next. 400 Crown Colony is a very interesting one. They're going to put a temporary courthouse and an office space. So if you're going to your local medical office, you get to walk by someone in shackles. But would be a great project, fits a time slot we need. So that one is hopefully coming soon. Another Dennis lead, the Tang roof is probably the most complex job we have coming up, if I had to guess. It's not the biggest, but we have to somehow rip off the entire structure off a roof and not let it leak below while replacing the roof and the mechanical systems on top. It's going to be very complicated. Bill Ridge is a small residential, and that's just some of the lists we put up there. Scott's I'm doing this today. Comes in this week, so thank you very much. I appreciate all the hard work. I didn't turn it over to Matt. There you go.
That's okay. I figured it out anyways.
I did. All right, so the ATLS group, I mean, everybody is pretty much hit on it, but the last couple of years have been challenging. Especially so, the lab market just was totally overbuilt and collapsed. And that was a big rebuild that we had to start working our way back from. So the projects that we've completed, the EMD Born Lab, known as AIDD, is about a 15,000 square foot renovation for an AI lab. The lab utilizes cutting edge technology that has these magnetic explaner tiles that moves the lab materials from one work cell to another. It was an incredibly complicated project. I'd like to give a big thank you to Atia, Nicole Pena, and even someone who's not here, Stefan, who absolutely helped keep us on track and made sure that the project was seamless from beginning to end. We're still on site a little bit. Mitch is there now, helping to support final equipment hookups. We'll be in and out of the space a little bit throughout the summer. Mitch has done an excellent job of picking up where Stefan left off and making sure that we continue to support our partners at EMD Serrano. ISO New England is a client that we've been chasing for multiple decades at this point, but have never been able to connect with. We met the OPM North Star, Anthony Warren, at ISPE in 2024. This was our first chance to really set our impression with them. Both Mark Brennick and Mark Soder, who I'm now going to call the Mark Squared team, and knocked it out of the park. They couldn't have been more thrilled with how, similar to what Ben said, it was. They got no complaints from any of the people in the occupied office building, despite being all over the place in their Windsor facility. We're going to be back on site in September to land a new guard shack for them. And then that's leading to some much bigger projects, which we'll talk about in the upcoming work at their Holyoke facility. This project, CAES, which many of the long-timers here at Erland may know as Cobham, was a full life cycle involvement in the space for Erland. Decades ago, we fit up the space for Maycom, and now decades later, as they were leaving the space, we were approached out of the blue to restore it back to its shell condition to turn it over to the new landlord. Greg Comboy was part of it all, and it makes you wonder who's pulling the strings somewhere to ensure that this was the last project he was involved in prior to heading into retirement. Atia and Pete did a fantastic job managing the budget together on this lump sum project, and Erland made a healthy fee on this project as a result of their collaboration. The client was extremely happy with our performance and was thrilled that they were able to get out of the space before getting hit with damages by the landlord, and has even opened up the door to potentially doing work with us at their new facilities down in Maryland. Thanks. EMD visitor experience. This is a little bit connected to the AIDD lab, which I first started off with. That was conceptually estimated at an $8 to $10 million project, the AIDD lab, off a napkin sketch that Joe was forced to put a number to. That's what they went to Germany with, and that's what they got
their funding approval based off of, which is a little scary when you go off of something that early. When the design was finished and we gave them the final budget for that AIDD lab, there was much less plumbing and specialty gases than we were initially thinking was going to be involved in it. So the project ended up coming in right around $8 million. To which they said, well, Germany approved us for 10 and we're spending it. So we said, no problem, we'll help you do that. That's how the visitor experience project was born. So that consists of a $1.1 million, 20-foot long touchscreen TV, which is the center for their sales team to use to sell the AIDD lab space. This was a small but pretty complicated project. Most challenging was that the end user on-site's manager, Aria, and her daily spontaneous demands to change everything. Atia and Mitch can give you the stories. But luckily, both Chris Nesman and George Lima, who have been our longtime Erland allies on the facility and EH&S side, were solidly in the Erland camp and also suffering from much of her abuse. Another big thank you to Tia, Mitch, Nicole Pena, and yes, even Stefan for helping make sure that this project was successful. So the current work that we have going on, EMD roof. Getting sick and tired of hearing about EMD, maybe? But too bad, because apparently they aren't sick of us. This project facility upgrade replaces the roofs on 2 of their buildings on campus. Taking advantage of this, the H&S team has added railings, safety tie-off points, and other things to help upgrade the campus. Mitch largely flew solo on this and has excelled at coordinating with EMD's safety team and our roofing contractor to make sure that there aren't any issues. The project will be wrapping up in a few weeks. All right, Markley Data Center. For people familiar with Lowell, you might know this as Spaghettiville. It's the old Prince Spaghetti Factory. I guess I'll start off by saying that working at Markley has been a unique experience and a number of unique experiences that I've had in my career. It's a bit of an atypical relationship. All the subcontractors work directly for Markley. They hold all their contracts. So we're largely almost a consultant in terms of supervision and guidance on the project. Both Jack Toomey and John Suddy have been heavily involved in overseeing some pretty complicated and impressive electrical and pipe work fitting up the new data center space. We recently landed 10 megawatt generators on site with a crawler crane, which was impressive to say the least. Jack is working on getting ready 16 modular chiller plants, which are getting ready to get set, and we're building out 10 more electric rooms on the 3rd floor. If you live near Lowell and your lights are starting to flicker, this is probably why. Next slide. NEDCC. This was a huge win for the team and our first recently connecting with the OPM CRESA. We were able to secure this project based on our past performance with the architect, Sam Anderson, who was the same architect who was at the Antiquarian Society in Worcester. Sam was also one of the references who gave a glowing review to Erland for the Haverhill Library project, which Ben just announced we were awarded to. How we perform on projects directly translates to our business's ability to bring in and secure new work. I find it important to also note that Steve Kraft Jr. was also instrumental in helping us get this project. His thorough estimate gave us great confidence going into the interview, and the fact that his new wife also works at NEDCC may have added a little incentive to get it right. John Suddy, Mark Soder, Connor Chase are currently working on the project. There's a rumor that Dan Smith is going to be coming there soon to join the team. I've been very impressed with how hard everybody's been pushing, despite some early challenges that were discovered in the existing conditions of the building. This project will turn over in October. I have absolutely no doubt that we'll knock it out of the park and prove Sam Anderson right. Next one. All right. Highland Ave. Mark Robinson and Mary are currently working on doing their damnedest to take 3 buildings down out there, despite finding 50 years of layers of buried asbestos. Boston Development Group is currently out in the market looking for a tenant, doing tours on site. We're confident they're going to find a tenant soon and give us a green light to start the new build of the new MOB building. One Technology Place was another huge win for the team. This project consists of about 200,000 square foot interior renovation, transforming the building into Rockland Trust's new corporate headquarters. The landlord for this project is A.W. Perry, a developer that we've been trying to secure work with for a few decades now. Another huge win stemming from old relationships. This used to be EMD Serrano's old office headquarters. Last year, they moved into the Seaport. So our work at the Billerica campus led to a recommendation where Chris Nesman called the president of A.W. Perry and said, you absolutely want to try to find a way to work with Erland. It's also a relationship we've developed with the OPM STV. So we're starting to form a lot of new relationships with OPMs, which hasn't really been there in the past for us because we haven't really needed it. There are 7 GCs who participated in the bid for this project and 4 were interviewed. I can't say enough about everyone who participated in the interview for this project. It was probably the best prepared and executed interview I have ever been a part of. Side note, our competition is furious that we won this project. Kyle Duppel is currently hard at work on a complicated and political pre-con for this job. Jack Toomey and Mark Brennick will be starting out there later this summer to get this one underway. Some of the upcoming pursuits that we're in the middle of. So ISO New England is looking to build a new $35 million building on their Holyoke campus. We just submitted the conceptual pricing to them on Monday. This is a spring start and another potential full career client for Joe Petrillo. He's worked on all 4 of their buildings spanning 3 different GCs. He's obviously the secret sauce to getting work with them. EMD optimization. We're currently under a pre-con agreement with Page Architect, who's doing a master plan study for the entire Billerica campus to determine what the future of that campus is going to look like. Depending on what they decide to do, they may create their own incubator program. They may sell a building, rent some back. There's a lot of different scenarios, but it's probably easily at least between $10 to $25 million worth of work the next couple of years to make their campus ready for the future. That would represent our 62nd project with EMD. Applied Materials, Kyle's currently spearheading some pre-con efforts, working for several different buildings contemplated at Applied Materials Gloucester campus, including a 400,000 square foot logistics building. MIT Lincoln Labs is a place that always has work going on. We're starting to see some opportunities for small things coming through, but that's how we're going to get our foot in the door and develop a relationship to show them how we're different. Lastly, I wanted to group a few of these together down at the end. Crosspoint, 1 and 2 Federal, Galley, 55 Middlesex, Light Zone. These represent a tremendous shift in Erland's business approach that we're making through the CoLab Design Build program. This is geared towards being the first and last contractor that somebody talks to on the project. These studies are being performed both for landlords to get spaces ready for advanced manufacturing facilities, as well as from a tenant perspective to make sure that they're right size and that they will need for the space and the utilities that they'll need. This effort's at the forefront of an emerging market. Similar to how the biotech market exploded almost 2 decades ago, we are positioning ourselves to be at the head of the line for the advanced manufacturing market. Facilities like Crosspoint and Light Zone will be among the first of their kind in the area in terms of multi-tenant advanced manufacturing facilities. I owe a huge debt of gratitude to Kyle, Joe, Nicole, Brittany, Greg, and everyone else who has helped with the CoLab effort. You have my sincere appreciation for helping us get to this point, and we're about to reap the benefits of the hard work you've done for over the past year. Next up, Eric's going to give the residential group update.
Thank you, Matt. Before I start talking about the specific jobs, I just wanted to thank everybody that was involved in any of the residential projects over the last year. I won't even call it the residential group because some of you are in different groups now, but a lot of people in the company have touched these projects. And I'm not going to mention names because honestly, the projects are just too big. We'd be here all night. Some of them have been long, 2 and 3 year projects. I'm going to try to keep it brief, but I did want to let you know how much I appreciated your effort, particularly how difficult residential projects can be. Sometimes they're just a long grind. And a lot of you spend a lot of time doing punch list work, which I know isn't sexy. I've done it before. I know spending time walking through units and marking things and checking things is hard work, but I do want to let you know, for those of you that did that, and some of you did it for a long time, I greatly appreciate it and the company appreciates it. So thank you for that. With that said, the Tremont refresh was just recently completed. I actually walked through there yesterday. It came out really great. I'm going to change my own rule and mention two people on this one, Ryan and Cody, only because it's a small enough job where I can mention them. But they did a great job with a lot of help from Dave Griffin along the way and others, obviously, but it came out great. Another Nordblum project, occupied renovation, and it really needed a refresh. A lot of reds through there, it's just kind of old and dated. Next slide, please. So the Sherman Building, now called the Benjamin Franklin Building. You can see the big number up there, $120 million. That is currently the largest dollar volume project that Erland has ever completed. So let's give a big. So that project, I guess, thankfully, is the last project on that campus. We did 7 projects out there. Mary's doing whatever that.
Blessing myself.
Yeah, blessing yourself. So we were out there for a good 5+ years, 7 different projects, over $250 million worth of work. I remember when we first got there and talked to Chestnut Hill, they had one project and we looked at this map and we go, why don't we do them all? You know, you could do that. I'm like, yeah, we could do that. So we did that. It took a while, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears over the years. Ended up being what we feel is a pretty difficult client, but we got through it. Very proud of the team for working so hard and fighting through the adversity out there. The finished projects, all of them look great. So Hancock Village Drive was, one of the 7 projects. Essentially, it was a road and some work along the way that had to get wrapped up at the same time as the Sherman Building. So that just got finished as well. Broadstone 305, you heard Rick mention, very successful financially. It was a second job the team had done with Alliance Residential. Unfortunately, Alliance decided to wind down in the Northeast because they found it too difficult to get jobs entitled and permitted. They made money on the jobs we built for them, but it just was a long burn. It would take them 3 to 5 years to get a permit. Or in Texas, they can get one in 6 months. So they decided not to build, but Mike Bajulian, who we've been working with, and Sean Henry are still in the area. So we'll still be able to build with them and use them as references, which is great. But a really successful team project. Again, that was 108 million. So another large building. Both of those buildings are over 500,000 square feet. They're just massive projects. If you ever walk through them, they're huge. Next slide, please. So current projects, Tufts, you can see another big number. That will be the next largest dollar volume project that Erland has ever built at 130, 35 billion, somewhere in that range. Just getting started now. It's very set up financially to make a good profit. The contract terms are exceptional, I would say. We have a really strong team out there, and we're going to continue to build on that strong team. We do need to finish on time. That's extremely important, but it's going to be a very successful job. Completion date is July of 2027, so students can move in when the semester starts in 2027. Next one. So verbally awarded, Emerson Green in Devens. They said they got the last piece of financing last week. We're still waiting to get that verified and get started, but it could be a July or August start date, hopefully. Sturgis Way in Denham, we met with Nordblum again yesterday. They have given the tenants notice that's on the current property. It looks like a November start date. It's going to be abatement demolition, surcharging of the site for about 3 months where we load material on the site and let it sit to consolidate the peat. And then early next year, we'll start the actual construction, but another great project. So pursuits, I'll just go through these quickly. Avita Milton, we have an RFP due the end of this month. It's just down to 2 of us. We have a very strong fit to getting that with a January next year start date. Middlesex Turnpike, that address is across in the Bancroft, where you see the 2 old concrete and brick buildings. Willow Bridge and Waltham, large project. It's out a good year. Sunrise of Chestnut Hill, Sunrise refreshes. We're waiting to hear back on a couple of refreshes. And then the 2 projects at the bottom are a little further out. But much like the other groups, we're getting a lot of interest. People are just trying to make the deals work, quite honestly. They're coming to us. They're saying, we understand the economic challenges. Can you help work with us and try to make them work? So we're spending a lot of time doing that right now. And with that, I'll turn it over to Kristen and Lori to talk about the safety update.
I think Gloria is going to be.
Lori's gonna do it remotely, she's
Zoom,
on
yeah.
Zoom. You go to the next slide. So Laurie's gonna talk to you guys about the CARE program. Laurie, can you hear me?
She's still there.
I don't know. I could fill in, but I don't know. Well, I'll jump to captain.
She's on. Lori?
What's there? Your mic hot?
That's all right, I can,
Her iPhone and her computer are both connected.
Just a quick note, Clarence would be helping with this presentation, but he's at training.
yeah, he's at
Rhode
training.
Island,
He's-
present.
Yeah, so he's not. I can go over the captive, really quick. So I'm not sure if you all know that, our insurance, we're not in a traditional insurance program, general liability, workers' comp, and our auto. We're in a captive, which includes 450 members, over 450 members from a wide range of various industries. And when you're in a captive, you're pretty much self-insured. So after 5 years, you become 100% vested, and if you do really well, you can receive dividends back. I currently manage all of the claims, and I'm excited to share some positive news. Thanks to the recent efforts of Laurie, Clarence, and all of you, we completed our risk analysis and scored in the high 90s, a strong reflection of the culture of safety we've built together. This program is especially effective for companies like ours that prioritize safety, and your continued commitment has paid off. We became fully vested last year, which means we do now receive dividends. The past year, we received a dividend of over $200,000 from the captive. This is a direct result of our excellent safety record, low claims, and active participation in the meetings and program events that they have. As long as we continue to stay engaged and work safely, we'll remain in a strong position to earn annual dividends like this. So I just wanted to give you guys little updates so you understand, because sometimes we're going on board of director meetings in different countries. And so I want to thank you all for the hard work and dedication that made this possible, and just keep it up so we can make some money. Is Laurie on? Laurie? I mean, I can speak a little on the CARE program.
I can speak to it. if you
Yeah,
want.
I mean, basically, we're gonna start, we are consistently starting to use it on
Yeah.
all of our projects.
Just for those who don't know, the CARE program it's an initiative which started out of in Boston. A lot of union contractors participated in it. Mayor Wu's office was one of the things after some fatalities in Boston. They wanted to step up industry-wide, not just individual companies, what they were doing to upgrade the safety culture. It's a system whereby your job site specific orientation and your overall safety orientation, it's done through a video format. It's given in multiple languages, which is handy that people can, log in one of 6 languages, I think, the language of choice that they can view a video, take a little, I think it's 4 or 5 section exam.
Yes.
And then once they're registered in it, they can go work on any other member site, and they already have that bigger portion of it done. We still have to do a smaller site specific for every site because that's an OSHA requirement. But we've been using the Middlesex site as the beta for that. It's gone well. We're using it on the bulk of our sites now, with the exception of maybe some of the little small, EMD was another beta. Some of the smaller, we're not getting into it. But in addition to just being a good overall safety orientation that allows us to, again, present it in different languages, it also has a good, mental well-being component to it, which I think was lacking in the program before. And it also takes away the opportunity for some of our union competitors to say that our safety program is not as robust as theirs. It's the same program as theirs. So now Lori will tell you all about it.
No, I don't think she's there.
So
We've also incorporated the Welcome to Erland, which
Yeah,
I think makes a big difference.
It should be, AGC initiated
Yes.
this program. It's been sponsored. We joined it right, I think the second year it was in place. We got involved.
Yeah, they had already there's a video, the training video. We weren't in it at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, we felt that, I think we were cautious because it's important to be in an industry program because of our peers and our competitors. But the risk of being in a plan and then not being in a plan has the sort of the opposite effect. So, you know, I think we felt we wanted to really make sure this is a plan for us before we kept committing to it. There was a period of uncertainty, but I think we've now fully committed to continue to subscribe to it. I guess, or become a, you know.
That's our intent, to continue to participate with it. Well, you'll see it, if you haven't already seen it on your job sites, you will see it on your job sites. This is gonna be our standard moving forward.
I think one other thing you can do from it, they have all their certification, so like lifts and all that other stuff.
They can register all of that stuff. There's also a component we're looking at, what we can do to, if not replace, but bolster our affidavit program. We're exploring some different opportunities. Basically what it is you can, once you're registered in it, once the employees are in the database, then we know we have a certification that they've gone through.
Yeah, it's a right to work. It shows that they've gone through all the proper I-9.
And it's an acronym, and I could deal with the acronym.
Is that Laurie?
Yes, I apologize, guys. I'm so sorry. My phone wouldn't unmute. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You guys, you did a great job, Kristen and Dan. You literally touched. I was going to say that we're using it on 11 projects, and we have put through 189 workers, not including Erland people, through the program to date, and they are showing up now on other projects. So, like Dan said, they're only being required to do 4 to 7 slides going forward.
What does CARE stand for? What is the acronym? Do you know?
Consciousness, alignment, respect, and empowerment.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's a great, I think it's a great program. I mean, welcome to Erland, that's huge. I need them. So now I can just go in and get them right off the
Well, the other thing is,
site.
instead of having to scan them and record them, and then
Yeah.
we've done these things, it's in the database. We can retrieve
Yeah.
this information later, should we need to.
Yeah.
And
Sign
usually
them.
when we need to, something comes up, it doesn't happen immediately. Months and months later, we get a request for some documents, and it's hard for us to find them. This is in a recordable database.
And it's just helping the field, streamline paperwork that you guys are required to process. And it's a lot. That's it, that's all I have.
Okay, getting close. So just real quick, I'm sure many of you have seen this sign out in the hallway. We recently, the management team had set out new leadership values and expectations. Over the past year or two, it's pretty obvious based off of a lot of the conversation here and common sense, that we've experienced a lot of leadership transitions. With so many new members on that leadership team, and the growing pains that can come with that, especially in a downturn, thought it was vital to set some new expectations to help us get out of this kind of downturn that we're in now and operate more effectively. So the leadership values up here, if we can hold ourselves accountable to the management team, obviously that's the first value there, then I think it will result in more consistency across the organization, stronger company culture, improved decision-making and accountability, stronger development of future leaders, stronger level of trust and engagement, and enhanced strategic execution. And like I mentioned, accountability is that first one on there, which I know many of you think, rightfully so, that we struggle with over the years. So what we want to do to hold the leadership team accountable is each year, we're going to have all the employees evaluate us on this anonymously. So we'll be sending out a survey at the end of the year, and you can grade us on how we're doing on these things. We'll share those results as well, so you can see it, and we'll keep doing that until we get to where we need to be. So that's really it for this, just more of an explanation. And I guess it's just going towards closing now. Oh, no, Steve.
Hi, Sean. I sort of like sitting in the back there.
Thanks, everyone. First off, Nancy's not here tonight, so she had a commitment. But
as we all know, we've been transitioning, and Eileen and Jackie have been stepping up into the HR role, and Nancy's been supporting them and helping them with the transition, reduced to more of a part-time basis, and eventually it's going to be a full retirement. Working with Rachel, here to consult and available all the time. She's just down the street. But one thing I want to mention also is in September, we're going to have a retirement party. We have a number of people that have had just tremendous careers at Erland. And some of them have retired over the last several months. And we really want to recognize them for all their efforts and all the blood, sweat, and tears they put in, and what they've done to help the company be successful. So we plan on doing that, and we look forward to seeing everyone here and get some of the people that have been with Erland in the past, maybe some of the people that retired previously can stop by and see their friends here. So we're looking forward to that. But I would like to talk a little bit about Brian McDonough. Brian is here. He didn't take off yet. So I heard at the beginning remotely, someone was saying, what were you doing in this state? 1989. How many people weren't around in 1989? Just show of hands. Wow. My eyesight's still good, but I'm feeling pretty damn old looking at this. That was the year that Brian joined Erland, and he joined as a controller. And in his first year, we had 47 employees and put in place $16 million worth of work. And we were just starting into a downturn. So Brian was responsible for managing the financial aspects of the company, and his primary goal was to protect the assets of Erland. And for almost 36 years, he's done that and more. In 1999, he was promoted to vice president of finance. As time went by, Brian's role continued to expand. He's been involved in leading several corporate initiatives and has been a longtime member of Erland's management team. He has consistently delivered accurate, timely reports, meeting deadlines that are often cast in stone. He's been steady, efficient, methodical, disciplined, and extremely well organized. Erland's been extremely important to Brian, but so is his time outside of work. Now he gets a well-deserved time to do other things that he really enjoys, such as skiing, golfing, and more importantly, spending time with his family, his wife, Karen, his boys, Miles and Corey, and of course, his new grandson, Fitzy, who's a recent addition to the McDonough family. So we've all benefited from having Brian as part of our team for 36 years. So I'd like to say to Brian, thank you for your contributions, for all that you've done. And we wish you the very best, many years of good health, happiness, and congratulations on a well-deserved retirement. I'd like to give Brian a round. I have nothing for you, Brian. You're going to have to show up in September.
Steve, just sitting here listening to everything that's going on, I think today is a one for me.
Terrific.
It's been good. That's why I'm still here. But it's going to be soon that I won't be here.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
4 days.
Thank you. John?
Yeah, so we get started. We want to draw these.
Well, let's see who hasn't received, because some of them came late.
Okay.
So who did not get a raffle ticket? And then field, close. Announcement.
Yeah. Okay. We're not done quite yet, but so just while she's handing these out, I did want to make an announcement too for all the field staff. There is some new clothes that marketing has put together over in the fishbowl room here. It should have your name on it. So if you guys want to go in there right after and grab it, that'll be sitting right behind this wall here. I guess we can go through. So while this is happening, I do want to, as we're near the end of the meeting here, I do want to thank a few individuals. First of all, I want to thank our presenters, Eric Green, Jerry Brown, Paul Driscoll, Kristen Sikowski, Ben McConchy, Matt Combs, Rick Wallaga, Roy Weber, Jake Chase, Mary Leahy, Mike Damagello, Kevin Gately, and Stephen Cassidy. Great job. I know it's not. And Dan James, yeah, impromptu. I know it's not always the most comfortable sitting in front of a big room and talking, but I think everyone did a great job and we appreciate that. I'd also like to thank Krista for coming here and taking the time to talk to us about the program and what we can expect. Very much appreciate that. I'd like to also congratulate one more time the service award recipients, Dennis, Steve Cassidy, and Kevin Driscoll, for the continued hard work and success and for helping turn Erland into the company it's become today. And last but certainly not least, I'd also very much like to thank Nicole Harrison, who's not here right now, and Brittany Sampson for putting together yet another great presentation. And also to Kristen Sikowski and Nicole Pena, and anybody else who really helped out in putting this together and prepping all the food and drinks and seats and everything. It doesn't happen by itself, so thank you guys very much for that. That is a good time to identify our raffle winners. Kristen wants to announce.
The number is, oh, Tony C's $75 gift card. 3523340. Someone has to have. Who's laughing at me? Dennis left.
Dennis left.
Dennis?
It probably is.
You got it,
I
Jamie?
did.
Congratulations. All right. Bancroft's, no, I trust him. $75 gift card.
Dave, how many tickets did you put in there?
Pretty day. Oh, I'll let read the last one.
75.
I know. All right, I'll read the last four numbers. Brittany told me that. 3312.
Put it back in, put it back in.
All right.
Oh. I got shit.
I'll take it.
3348.
Me.
Tony sees it.
Congrats, Jackson.
We're gonna do a pub crawl.
$75 gift card for nails and toes. We'll see what guy wants it.
The next one. That's the next one.
3330.
Nice.
Stop regulation against
Two scratch tickets, $50 total. And you didn't separate them. You're not doing it right. You didn't go in there. You're. Three, 3354.
Oh, man. I said 3353.
3354.
Oh, no.
3354.
Going.
It's gotta be, is
All right.
it Jack Coogan? It's right before me.
3346.
Oh,
I hope you win big. Then you can. X-Ball. I like the ball. X-Ball, $75 gift card, and we have 3359. Ooh, Jackie! All right.
Make him show us, make him show us.
And thanks, Sean, for running around and doing all this. He did. All right. Red Sox, 4 tickets, weekend Boston Red Sox game, and you get to choose. There's a couple dates.
You're on.
3361. And that's it.
All right. So I mentioned the field and the stuff out there. I did have a few quick closing remarks, and I know that we want to go grab a drink and some pizza. So, I said to close the meeting, a few remarks. So talked a lot, and while the market remains challenging, still going to be some time before the construction market fully recovers. With that said, I think that based off all the presentations and everyone's hard work, the future is very bright here. We do anticipate a much heavier workload heading into fiscal year 2026. And if we learned anything from the 2021 and 2022 years, I think we're taking all the right steps to prepare ourselves for this other pickup in work. Doubling down on the training and development, both in-house and with building people and FMI and Team Track, placing a strong focus on tightening up our processes and procedures, aligning our team during a generational transition, and continuing to maintain a strong focus on business development are all things that we certainly learned last time, and we're going to try to do a little bit better and plan for this time. If we continue to work as a team and display a strong ownership mindset, we'll be able to take advantage of the market as it improves and continue our growth. And I did want to announce also, as we continue to build momentum, excited to announce that we're going to be bringing back the 401k match effective August 1st, start of the fourth quarter of this year. That'll be the 50% on the first 4% as we had before. Signifies another step in the right direction. Continuing to climb our way out, so some good news there too. But I want to thank you all again for being here tonight and for all your efforts. Kind of building Erland back one day at a time, but it takes a team, and everyone's really been vital to that. So thank you very much. With positive attitudes and strong work ethic, I think we can get through this and come out stronger than before. So thank you guys again. We do have pizza and beer and vodka and whiskey. So appreciate everyone. Thank you very much.